Hey girls, good morning. Happy Friday. It's Galentine's Day today, right? Isn't that the day before Valentine's? It's Galentine, so happy Galentine's Day. Valentine's Day is cheesy. I hate it. FYI. All right, February 13th. Building the Ark, Exodus 37, 1 through 9. Next, Bezalel made the Ark of acacia wood, a sacred chest 45 inches long, 27 inches wide, and 27 inches high. He overlaid it inside and outside with pure gold, and he ran molding of gold all around it. He cast 4 gold rings and attached them to its 4 feet, 2 rings on each side. Then he made the poles from acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. He inserted the poles into the rings at the sides of the ark to carry it. Then he made the ark's cover, the place of atonement, from pure gold. It was 45 inches long and 27 inches wide. He made 2 cherubim from hammered gold and placed them on the 2 ends of the atonement cover. He molded the cherubim on each end of the atonement cover, making it all of 1 piece of gold. The cherubim faced each other and looked down on the atonement cover. With their wings spread above it, they protected it. Building the table, Exodus 37, 10 through 16. Then Bezalel made the table of acacia wood, 36 inches long, 18 inches wide, and 27 inches high. He overlaid it with pure gold and ran a gold molding around the edge. He decorated it with a 3-inch border all around, and he ran a gold molding along the border. Then he cast 4 gold rings for the table and attached them at the 4 corners next to the 4 legs. The rings were attached near the border to hold the poles that were used to carry the table. He made these poles from acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. Then he made special containers of pure gold for the table, bowls, ladles, jars, pitchers, to be used in pouring liquid offerings. Building the lampstand, Exodus 37, 17 through 24. Then Bezalel made the lampstand of pure hammered gold. He made the entire lampstand and its decorations of 1 piece: the base, center stem, lamps, cups, buds, and petals. The lampstand had 6 branches going out from the center stem, 3 on each side. Each of the 6 branches had 3 lamp cups shaped like almond blossoms, complete with buds and petals. The center stem of the lampstand was crafted with 4 lamp cups shaped like almond blossoms, complete with buds and petals. There was an almond bud beneath each pair of the branches where the 6 branches extended from the center stem, all made of 1 piece. The almond buds and branches were all of 1 piece with the center stem, and they were hammered from pure gold. He also made 7 lamps for the lampstand, lamp snuffers and trays, all of pure gold. The entire lampstand, along with its accessories, was made from 75 pounds of pure gold. Building the incense altar, Exodus 37, 25 through 29. Then Bezalel made the incense altar of acacia wood. It was 18 inches square and 36 inches high, with horns at the corners carved from the same piece of wood as the altar itself. He overlaid the top, sides, and horns of the altar with pure gold, and he ran a gold molding around the entire altar. He made 2 gold rings and attached them to the opposite side of the altar, below the gold molding, to hold the carrying poles. He made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. Then he made the sacred anointing oil and the fragrant incense, using the techniques of a skilled incense maker. Building the altar of burnt offering, Exodus 38, 1 through 7. Next, Bezalel used acacia wood to construct the square altar of burnt offering. It was 7.5 feet wide, 7.5 feet long, and 4.5 feet high. He made horns for each of its 4 corners so that the horns and the altar were all 1 piece. He overlaid the altar with bronze. Then he made all the altar utensils of bronze: the ash buckets, shovels, basins, meat forks, and fire pans. Next, he made a bronze grating and installed it halfway down the side of the altar under the ledge. He cast 4 rings and attached them to the corners of the bronze grating to hold the carrying poles. He made the poles from acacia wood and overlaid them with bronze. He inserted the poles through the rings on the sides of the altar. The altar was hollow and made from planks. Building the wash basin, Exodus 38, 8. Bezalel made the bronze wash basin and its bronze stand from bronze mirrors donated by the women who served at the entrance of the tabernacle. Building the courtyard, Exodus 38, 9 through 20. Then Bezalel made the courtyard, which was enclosed with curtains made of finely woven linen. On the south side, the curtains were 150 feet long. They were held up by 20 posts set securely in 20 bronze bases. He hung the curtains with silver hooks and rings. He made similar sets of curtains on the north side, 150 feet of curtains held up by 20 posts set securely in bronze bases. He hung the curtains with silver hooks and rings. The curtains on the west end of the courtyard were 75 feet long, hung with silver hooks and rings, supported by 10 posts set into 10 bases. The east end, the front, was also 75 feet long. The courtyard entrance was on the east end, flanked by two curtains. The curtain on the right side was 22.5 feet long and was supported by 3 posts set into 3 bases. The curtain on the left side was also 22.5 feet long and was supported by 3 posts set into 3 bases. All the curtains used in the courtyard were made of finely woven linen. Each post had a bronze base, and all the hooks and rings were silver. The tops of the posts of the courtyard were overlaid with silver, and the rings to hold up the curtains were made of silver. He made the curtain for the entrance to the courtyard of finely woven linen, and he decorated it with beautiful embroidery in blue, purple, and scarlet thread. It was 30 feet long, and its height was 7.5 feet. Just like the curtains of the courtyard walls, it was supported by 4 posts, each set securely in its own bronze base. The top of the posts were overlaid with silver, and the hooks and the rings were also made of silver. All the tent pegs used in the tabernacle and courtyard were made of bronze. Inventory of materials, Exodus 38, 21 through 31. This is an inventory of the materials used in the building of the tabernacle of the covenant. The Levites compiled the figures as Moses directed, and Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest, served as a recorder. Bezalel, son of Uri, grandson of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made everything just as the Lord had commanded Moses. He was assisted by Aholiab, son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, a craftsman, expert at engraving, designing, and embroidering with blue, purple, and scarlet thread on fine linen cloth. The people brought special offerings of gold, totaling 2,193 pounds, as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. This gold was used throughout the tabernacle. The whole community of Israel gave 7,545 pounds of silver, as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. The silver came from tax collected from each man registered in the census. The tax is 1 beka, which is half a shekel, based on the sanctuary shekel. The tax was collected from 603,550 men who had reached their 20th birthday. The 100 bases for the frames of the sanctuary walls and for the posts supporting the inner curtain required 7,500 pounds of silver and 75 pounds for each base. The remaining 45 pounds of silver was used to make the hooks and rings to overlay the top of the posts. The people also brought, as special offerings, 5,310 pounds of bronze, which was used for casting the bases, for the posts at the entrance of the tabernacle, and for the bronze altar with its bronze grating and all the altar utensils. Bronze was also used to make the bases for the posts that supported the curtains around the courtyard, the bases for the curtains and the entrance of the courtyard, and all the tent pegs for the tabernacle and the courtyard. My foot is uncovered and it's cold. I'm trying to get it wrapped up in my electric blanket here. There we go. I got a cold foot. Clothing for the priests, Exodus 39:1. The craftsmen made beautiful sacred garments of blue, purple, and scarlet cloth made from clothing for Aaron to wear while ministering in the holy place, just as the Lord had commanded. Making the ephod, Exodus 39:2-7. Bezalel made the ephod of finely woven linen and embroidered it with gold and blue, purple, and scarlet thread. He made gold thread by hammering out thin sheets of gold and cutting it into fine strands. With great skill and care, he worked it into a fine linen with blue, purple, and scarlet thread. The ephod consisted of 2 pieces, front and back, joined at the shoulders with 2 shoulder pieces. The decorative sash was made of the same material, finely woven linen, embroidered with gold and with blue, purple, and scarlet thread, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. They mounted the 2 onyx stones in settings of gold filigree. The stones were engraved with the names of the tribes of Israel, just as the seal is engraved. He fastened these stones on the shoulder pieces of the ephod as a reminder that the priests represent the people of Israel. All of this was done just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Making of the chest piece, Exodus 39:8-21. Bezalel made the chest piece with great skill and care. He made it to match the ephod, using finely woven linen, embroidered with gold and with blue, purple, and scarlet thread. He made the chest piece of a single piece of cloth, folded into form a pouch of 9 inches square. They mounted 4 rows of gemstones on it. The first row contained a red carnelian, a pale green peridot, and an emerald. The second row contained turquoise, a blue lapis lazuli, and a white moonstone. The third row contained an orange jacinth, an agate, and a purple amethyst. The fourth row contained a blue-green beryl, an onyx, and a green jasper. All of these stones were set in gold filigree. Each stone represented one of the 12 sons of Israel, and the name of the tribe was engraved on it like a seal. To attach the chest piece to the ephod, they made braided cords of pure gold thread. They also made 2 settings of gold filigree and 2 gold rings and attached them to the top corners of the chest piece. They tied the 2 gold cords to the rings of the chest piece. They tied the other ends of the cord to the gold settings on the shoulder pieces of the ephod. Then they made 2 more gold rings and attached them to the inside edges of the chest piece next to the ephod. Then they made 2 more gold rings and attached them to the front of the ephod, below the shoulder pieces, just above the knot where the decorative sash was fashioned to the ephod. They attached the bottom rings of the chest piece to the rings on the ephod with blue cords. In this way, the chest piece was held securely to the ephod above the decorative sash. All this was done just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Additional clothing for priests. Exodus 39:22 through 31. Bezalel made the robe that is worn with the ephod from a single piece of blue woven cloth, with an opening for Aaron's head in the middle of it. The opening was reinforced with a woven collar so it would not tear. They made pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and attached them to the hem of the robe. They also made bells of pure gold and placed them between the pomegranates along the hem of the robe, with bells and pomegranates alternating all around the hem. This robe was to be worn whenever the priest ministered before the Lord, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. They made tunics for Aaron and his sons from fine linen cloth. The turban and the special head covering were made of fine linen, and the undergarments were also made of finely woven linen. The sashes were made of finely woven linen and embroidered with blue, purple, and scarlet thread, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Finally, they made the sacred medallion, a badge of holiness, of pure gold. They engraved it like a seal with these words, "Holy to the Lord." They attached the medallion with a blue cord to Aaron's turban, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Okay. All right. Page 177, the section titled Revival Means Moving Forward, Not Turning Back. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. Galatians 5:1. The first book I had the joy of writing, Wild and Free, was co-authored by my dear friend Haley Morgan. We switched off writing chapters. I wrote the chapters on being wild, getting back to our true nature as daughters of God, and Haley wrote the chapters on being free, acting in the liberty that is ours in Christ Jesus. I am grieved, but not embarrassed, to share with you that I'd often tell Haley in private that there was no way I could write about freedom, specifically because I felt like I was in bondage regarding my body. My chains were breaking, but I was still struggling. Haley wrote a lot about Harriet Tubman and her relentless pursuit to see the freedom of other Black people who were enslaved in America. She wrote about how Harriet tasted freedom and had to have it for others, so she repeatedly put herself in the path of bodily harm to ensure others would be rescued. It wasn't until a few years later that I found out about the famous photograph of Harriet Tubman holding a shotgun. Harriet was known to carry a firearm in order to defend herself and other people escaping slavery, but she also admitted to turning the gun on those who tried to go back as means to keep them moving forward. If a person who was escaping slavery turned back in fear, he or she caused extreme peril for those who'd helped them escape and for those who'd found freedom. They couldn't afford to allow backtracking. The stakes are different for women who are seeking freedom from belief that their bodies aren't good enough, but the danger of backtracking remains. When a woman returns to her old familiar bondage, it puts those who are free, those who have led them to freedom, at risk. Maybe this book should have come with a gentle warning label. Don't read this book unless you're willing to stay outside the cultural confines and expectations. Except I know that the book doesn't make our bondage any more dangerous. It's always been important that we fight for freedom, not just for ourselves, but for those around us. Women are watching you. Your daughters, sisters, mother are watching you. The gal who babysits for you, the one who sits 2 rows behind you at church, the other student in your school, other students in your school, your roommate, your barista, the gals in your exercise class, they are all up against the same fight, the same struggle, whether they know it or not. The enemy of their souls is waging the same war against their bodies and their understanding of their worth. And that's not to say it's all up to you or that you have to be the hero. Jesus is the hero. He's got them. He loves them. He has a plan for their redemption, but you can be part of his plan. We all get to choose whether we'll play a part in the journey of the women around us as they come to see their bodies in a kingdom light, or whether we'll contribute to the cultural soundtrack that is keeping them in bondage. We all get to decide with every conversation, with every worshipful move we make with our own bodies, if we'll be a spark of light in a dark place. We all get to decide which side we want to be on if revival hits and women across the world begin to throw off the bondage that has held them captive to the expectations of this world. But it's good for us to remember that the revival won't start around a table in a boardroom. It won't start with a slogan or a slickly marketed campaign. It won't begin rolling forward when we sing the right songs or wear the cute t-shirts, or even when we walk in the middle of the room and yell, "I declare revival." If and when revival comes and this story begins to shift for the women in our time, it will be because the daughters of God repented, prayed, and decided they wanted to see their Father in a clearer light than they did before. It may be quiet and it will probably be messy, but it can begin today. Let me just scroll through the chat here. 21st birthday. Oh my gosh. And it's Tammy's birthday tomorrow. Sorry. I don't hate the 14th of February. 14th of February is a great day. I'm just not a fan of the whole over the top expectations. And Alice's son turns 19 today. 8 other people with birthdays. What was going on 9 months ago? Shelley, I was thinking that the Mennonite Welcome Center in Lancaster, Pennsylvania has a life-size replica of the Really? I didn't know that, Jackie. I'm going to have to check that out. We're going to Lancaster this summer. We're going to have to go check that out. That would be very interesting to me. I had no idea that was there. We're going to definitely go check that out. That's right up my alley. I've thought that before. I would love to see replicas of the garments and all that stuff. Oh, Alice, that makes sense. Some partying going on. Memorial Day led to a lot of February babies. That's what that is. All right, girls. Yeah, that's cool. We're going to go in June. So we'll definitely do the Mennonite. I didn't even know there was a Mennonite Welcome Center. So now I know. Jackie, what other hidden gems are there that I need to know about besides chocolate, and Hershey? We'll be going there too. All right, girls, let's go ahead and end in prayer. Pick the Winnie here out of my coffee. God, thank you for our time together. Thank you for drawing these women close together, and thank you for putting them in my life. I just praise you and thank you that we have the opportunity to come before you today and bow our heads in prayer and boldly approach the throne and lay our burdens and concerns at your feet. God, I know there are many things going on here. I lift up Faith to you today with her issues with her house and the constant water pouring into her house and the effort that she's keeping in by purging the house of water every hour. And just, I pray for strength for her. I pray for clarity. I pray that the contractor will come back soon and finish the work and stop this from happening to Faith. And we just lift her up to you today for strength. God, I also pray for our friend Kathy as she mourns the loss of her pup yesterday, and we just ask for strength and comfort for her today. God, as we go through this day, help us to honor you with all the things that we do, with our words towards others, with our actions, with how we share the love of Christ everywhere we go. In your precious name, amen. All right, friends. No, probably not, Meredith. I'd like to go to Sight and Sounds. I don't know if we'll get to go this year. I don't know. We're usually just back to back. I don't know if we'll get to go to Sight and Sound. We've never been. That's nowhere near Lancaster. I know. I want to go to the Ark. I've been saying I want to go to the Ark forever. I've been talking about the tabernacle. Facebook has been showing me a toy that is a tabernacle replica made out of Bible blocks. That's kind of cool. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. What is that hair that's in the screen? Oh, it's on my screen. You are, Alice? That's when I'll be there. First week of June. Hopefully. If we can get the Airbnb we want. We're going to celebrate Marin's graduation. That's what she wants. I said she could pick a trip to go somewhere for her graduation. That's where she wants to go, is Lancaster. I know. The Ark is, I know. And I do want to go to the Ark so bad. I just don't want to go in the summer.
Oh, wait, is that Ohio?
Kentucky. I just don't want to go. I don't want to go in the summer. I'd like to go like right now when it's quieter. Mom, I really want to go to the Creation Museum even more than the Ark. Everything I've heard says that's even more mind-blowing. Mom and Dad went. Mom zip-lined while she was there. Both Mom and Dad zip-lined at the Creation Museum.
Hanging from her ankles.
Tilson said he heard she looked funny hanging from her ankles. Now that would be funny. All right, girls. I hope you have a great day today. Listen, if you're not registered for Ferrero Rocher class tomorrow morning, what ails you? I'm going to put the link in group coaching in case anybody there hasn't seen it. We're going to make cheesecake tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Now, I will be strength training at 8:45. So I'm going to show up red-faced and sweaty to class, but it's okay. That just gives you something to do before class too. Go lift so you're all worn out so you can make cheesecake and then you'll be able to eat it because you worked out. All right. Yeah, I love you girls and I'll see you.